Selam, selam, selam, selam.
Hello.
Hello, how are you?
Good, good. And you?
Welcome,
Good.
welcome. It's truly a pleasure to have you here. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having
It's our pleasure.
For Hiba, now first question. Okay, the first question: what is the key factor behind the emotional and powerful quality of your voice during your training? Which vocal techniques did you focus on the most?
Wow. I started training and doing vocal exercises when I was really young. I started like around 12 years old. I always knew I had a love for singing, and I always knew that I wanted to make it a career of mine. But and I felt that I needed to learn more about this vocal world. So this is how I started taking vocal lessons when I was 12 years old, and piano lessons as well. I started doing opera because they say, everyone says that it's like you learn the basics of techniques with the opera singing and lyrical singing. So that's how I started, and then I was more curious to develop more skills. So I took also lessons in pop singing, contemporary, more jazz singing, etc. And until now, like, I feel like the voice is a muscle that you should always train and work on. It's not something that you can just take for granted. So it's I always warm up. I always do my vocal lessons with
Always.
my vocal coach. Yes, always.
Always, very nice, very nice. A different question. How did your experience on The Voice France influence your career? What was the most valuable thing you gained from that journey?
When I participated in The Voice France in 2015, 10 years ago, I was already kind of famous, and I already had done a lot of things in the Arab world. So doing The Voice in France was taking a risk because it meant that I was agreeing on putting everything I worked on in a competition. So I was really taking a risk, but this is how I thought that doing The Voice France could open a lot of opportunities and doors for me in another part of the world that didn't know me then. So and I was lucky because the journey that I had in The Voice France was kind of successful, because I made it to the finals, and I had a lot of media coverage, and the audience like really supported this participation, and everyone voted for me. So it was a very positive journey. It was very enriching on a human level and artistic level as well. And professionally, it opened a lot of doors for me in France and in this side of the world as well.
Yeah. This question for Ibrahim. Now, how did your passion for jazz music begin? Which artists have inspired you most throughout your career?
Well, I don't even consider myself as a jazz man. I love jazz. I listen to amazing musicians from the jazz world, from Count Basie to Miles, from Dizzy Gillespie to Don Ellis. A lot of trumpet players, obviously.
Yeah.
But my journey in the jazz world is very little compared to all the rest of my musical experience. But I remember I used to play trumpet a lot, like my father taught me, which was very much into the classical kind of sound. Classical means a bright sound, loud sound, high notes, this kind of sounds on trumpet. And I didn't like it so much. I actually didn't like it at all. So yeah. So and when I was a kid in my room playing trumpet, I used to hide from my father, and I used to play trumpet in my room with a blanket on the bell of the trumpet to kind of make the sound more velvet, you know. And one day someone was telling me, but you know, you should listen to Miles Davis, you should listen to John Hassel, you should listen to this kind of music. I didn't even know who they were. I was like 14 or 15 years old.
No.
And a few years later, like 2 or 3 years later, I was in Paris and I saw an album of Miles Davis. So I bought it and I put it in my room. I didn't listen to it for like a year. Yeah, and one day I just put the album in my CD player,
Yeah.
and I was completely blown away, because finally I discovered that it was allowed to play this way. I didn't even know this. So everything changed in my perspective on this instrument, and I completely changed my mind, and maybe started to enjoy a little bit more this instrument. And thanks to jazz, I kept playing music on trumpet.
Thank you. How did the idea of blending Arabic makams and Eastern melodies with Western instruments first came to life? What was the biggest challenge in developing this unique style?
Well, I don't know in general, but for sure for trumpet, it's my father's invention. He's the first one to play this way. He's the one who invented it. He's the genius. I'm just a follower. You know, I took his genius and I kind of developed it on my way. But he's the one who truly invented something that nobody did before him. And so the thing is that, you know, as they say, you know, they didn't know it was impossible, so they made it, right? So they did it. Like typically, my father is exactly this. He didn't know it was impossible, but he did. So that's why he did it. He didn't know that on trumpet you couldn't play quarter tones. He didn't know that trumpet was not an instrument you would play this kind of music on. But he wanted to do it, so he just found out a way to do it. And you know, growing up, you know, in his surroundings, and listening to him doing it very naturally, it was even more natural for me, and I just started doing it without even knowing that it was actually mixing Arabic music and makams on a classical music instrument, or on a Western instrument. I didn't even know about this. I didn't even question it. It was just natural.
It's a different way. Natural.
Yeah, but you know, my father used to always say that the biggest inventions are usually covered by. Comment tu dis إيش البصلة؟
An onion.
How do you say that?
Soğan. Onion.
Yeah. How do you call the onion
Soğan.
cover?
Yeah. Kabuk.
Yeah, it's like almost
Very
nothing.
thin layer.
It's very, very thin layer. So I think he was right. You know, he just questioned something that nobody wondered before him.
Both, please. Questions for both. Do you remember the moment you decided to create music together? How did your first collaboration came about?
Well, we met. When we met, it was the first contact was because I really admired what he did and his music, so I wanted him to I wanted to collaborate with him. This is how we like met. Like music was the excuse.
Yeah.
So and then we tried to do some things together. He invited me to one of his concerts, and I invited him as well. And then
To sing.
to play on one of my songs. So it was always, whatever we did was really very selective, and we decided to choose the times that we want to work together, because we didn't want it to be like a routine or like something like a habit. We wanted to make every collaboration count and to give it an importance. So this is why every time we decide to collaborate together, it's because we wanted to have an impact and not be something very
Random.
random. So and now the fact that we both together are French and that we live in France and that he's French, like he always lived in France. I moved to France like 5 years ago, but it's a common point between us, especially that I grew up listening to French songs. And I love it a lot, and he loves French music as well. So the concept came like it was very
It was obvious. It was
obvious
natural for
that
us.
we had to do something like a tribute to French songs, and we only did this concert 2 times before.
Yeah, we did once in France and once in New York only.
Only, yeah.
This is going to be our third time.
I'm doing it together in Istanbul.
Istanbul. Wow, we are very lucky. Very lucky. Istanbul,
lucky
very
too.
lucky.
We are lucky too.
Wow. Very nice, very nice. Thank you. Next question. How do you balance your musical and family life? In what ways do you inspire each other artistically?
I think when you live with someone, when you choose to be together with someone, there's a lot of respect, right? And even though we, try to discuss things like everyone, but there's always a lot of respect, and I think that there is something more than respect that we have. It's called admiration, and I think it's something that we share. I mean, she knows what I'm doing. She sees me working every day hard. She sees me touring all the time and working on all the musics and all the albums and all this, and I think she appreciates this, and I admire her work because she's very a clever, very smart artist who really has an exceptional voice with amazing choices in her life, artistical choices, and I really admire her. So I think it's something that we share, but beyond everything else, which is children, obviously, and a family life. I think there's a lot of respect and admiration. So that helps.
Wow, thank you. What do you know about Turkish music? Are there any Turkish artists you listen to or been inspired by? Would you consider collaborating with Turkish musicians in the future?
So you need to know that even though we both are French and originally from Lebanon, I'll try to be, in the same time very honest and without trying to give you flowers or anything like that. But we both are very much into Turkish culture, and whether it's Hiba's family or my family, we both have links with the Turkish culture for a long time.
Yeah.
I don't know if you want to say it, but I mean, Hiba's grandparents are. I mean, their parents originally were Turkish.
Oh, wow!
On my side, also, my grandfather from my mother's grandmother's side.
Great grandmother.
Yeah, was a judge in Turkey, and even my uncle Maalouf, the writer.
Yeah.
He wrote a lot of things about Turkey because it's part of our history also. So we love Turkish culture. We really cherish culture, Turkish music and Turkish food and Turkish people.
And my grandparents from both sides, from my mother's side and my father's side, they speak Turkish. So I remember that whenever they wanted to talk together without us understanding what they were saying, they used to speak in Turkish.
Wow! Did you came to Turkey or cities?
Oh yeah, sure, yeah.
Yeah, many times.
Many times. Which cities? Istanbul or another
Of
state?
course. Istanbul, Bodrum,
İzmir, Antalya, Ankara.
Antalya, Ankara.
Wow, wow. I'm living in Izmir now. Please
Oh,
come to
nice.
Izmir again. Yeah, yeah. The weather is very hot now. 35 degrees.
And we love Turkish food. And in my family, our cuisine is very inspired by Turkish cuisine. Like we love eating all the Turkish food,
And the first
mante
time,
and all that.
yeah, Mante. First time I wanted Hiba to come with me somewhere abroad. It was in Turkey actually, and she traveled with me. And I remember in the evening after the show, it was like midnight or
Yeah.
something. I told her my favorite food ever is mante. So
Mante.
we went down on the street looking for a mante restaurant, and we walked like for hours.
Wow. Lebanese music culture is incredibly layered, combining Arabic music, jazz, and classical elements. How do you reflect that cultural and geographical diversity in your own music?
I think that the way, I mean, I think Hiba is the same, but the way we see music is to try to use it as a tool to make people forget the differences. And on my opinion, music is an amazing weapon against racism, against people who want to put people in boxes, against all kinds of obscurantism. I really believe that music is the best language to make people make peace. And so the way I try to work on music in general is to try to erase all the limits and the borders that are between the different styles. Try to mix them, like mix things without doing patchwork, mix things in the most natural way in order to make people forget that it's a different kind of music, So it's like one of the things that I actually prefer in music is to do these kind of things. So so if you try to work on a music and try to seek for this kind of mixing, métissage, you have to forget all the codes. You have to forget everything that people taught you about music, and just try things and try again until something is very natural. And usually when it's really natural, it's a mix because you are a mix. We are mixes. And especially now, with our phones on internet. I mean, we have this capacity to go anywhere in the world and listen to all the musics of the world. So there's no limit. There's no reason. There's no reason to be disconnected from everything in the world. So if you listen to what the world is, your music is supposed to sound like the world.
Wow, this is important questions for me because Lebanese musicians, many musicians like jazz music. I've listened Lebanese singers, musicians. I think different because Lebanese Arabic music, okay, but jazz music mix.
Yeah, I mean, Lebanese people have always loved the mixing with Western musics, but it's also true for cinema. It's also true for literature. It's true for everything. I mean, usually Lebanese people have always intended to mix European cultures and Western cultures to Arab culture. Maybe also like in Istanbul. I mean, I can feel this in Istanbul too. When I go to and I walk in the streets of Taksim. I feel the same kind of mixing. It's pretty much the same kind I can see in Lebanon too.
Okay, thank you so much. Are there any global music genres or lesser-known musicians that have deeply inspired you?
Global artists?
Yeah, there are many of them.
Oh, yeah.
Many of them. We listen, both of us, Hiba and I, we listen to lots of international global artists. We love pop music. We love we even listen to like hip hop and pop and rock and like all kinds of things. I don't think there is like a kind of music where we would say, oh, this is not for me or something. I think we are touched by the artist and what the heart of the artist is saying.
Yes.
Yeah, what surprises are waiting for your fans at your upcoming concert in Istanbul? Will there be special guests, unique songs or moments we'll experience live for the first time?
Well, the whole program is new,
Yeah.
so
Oh.
we will do some. We will definitely we definitely have some surprises, and I can even tell you something that I cannot say openly. Is that I'm also preparing a surprise to Hiba, but she doesn't know.
Ah.
See?
What?
I kept this for you.
Oh my god! What have you done? I won't be able to sleep until the concert now.
Okay, this is a surprise for us. We are waiting. We are waiting.
Yes, yes.
It's okay. In our interviews, we often ask guests to sing a short lullaby or folk song from their culture. Would you be open to sharing a small but unforgettable performance with us, perhaps even together?
I mean, she's the singer.
What to
Lebanese lullaby or something like this.
Lullaby or folk song?
lullaby.
Yeah,
Oh,
yeah.
um, I know many things, but now I'm under stress. I'm stressed.
Feiruz.
Oh,
Do you know Feiruz, right?
yeah, yeah.
Yeah, Feiruz song.
I- What help me? I forgot all the lyrics now.
She is a hard disk. She
Hard
like
disk.
literally memorizes thousands of songs, and now
Lullaby is hard thing. Yeah.
No, we have هسي صار شو حلوين عم بيدوروا حول مبسوطين شربوا مي
this is for our children.
قالوا خير رفعوا راسهم شكروا ربهم ممنونين. I didn't expect doing this. Like when they told me about this interview, I would have never imagined me singing this.
Thank you so much. It's very nice. It's very nice. Thank you so much. Quickfire, 7 artistically driven choices. Okay.
Okay.
Start.
What?
Lebanese or French cuisine?
Oh, sorry. But we have to be honest. Lebanese,
Lebanese.
definitely.
Okay. Zatar tabule or buttery croissant?
Zatar tabbouleh, come on.
Wait, buttery croissant in the morning and tabbouleh in the evening.
Yeah, maybe.
Okay. Performing in traditional attire or in a modern design?
I think mother.
But yeah, for me, maybe a mix of both.
Mix of both. Okay. Listening to Feiruz for a whole night or Edith Piaf?
She's gonna say Feiruz, of course.
Yeah.
And because I like contradiction, I'm gonna say Piaf, but that's just for the contradiction.
Okay, next. An improvised performance with no rehearsal or a perfectly planned concert?
Oh, you have the two opposites here.
Yeah, you have the opposites. Perfectly planned, completely improvised.
It's a way of living as well, not just the concert.
It's a formula for a perfect couple. It's a formula, net formula. Okay, an empty theater with pure acoustic or a massive festival stage with digital effects?
Well,
I love both, of
yeah, I
course.
love both.
Both.
It depends of the program.
How much money?
Empty or full, no problem. Oh, thank you. Last one. Is there a song that no one else knows but hold deep personal meaning for you?
Shalia.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. There is a song from Shalia. It's called "I Know It's You," and it's the song that I don't think many people know this. I think it's like maybe 100 people know about this song in the world, but it's a wonderful song of. It's an American singer called Shalia. I met her when I was working with Quincy Jones, and
Wow.
I love her voice. And she did this song that I used to do my proposal to Hiba, and I tried to sing it, but it was a catastrophe. So by chance, there was one of her best friends who's a great singer, and she started singing instead of me, and that was much better.
Wow, wow. Thank you so much for tonight. That's a wonderful tonight. Thank you so much for everything. We are
Thank
waiting.
you.
We are waiting in Istanbul. We are waiting your concert. See you, and thank you so much for everything.
Thank you so much. Take
Thank
care.
you so much.
Bye bye.
Bye.